Stephen A. Smith has done it again. He dropped a bombshell on LeBron James and his statement about how rings don't matter in the world of the NBA. The analyst is growing sick and tired of LeBron by the day, and it seems like he's waiting for statements like this in order to let his anger go. But was Smith in the right to publicly bash LeBron James after their previous feud surrounding Bronny James? And if not, will this be the end of his analytical career, considering the greatness of LeBron in the NBA world? If there is one thing we've been able to conclude in the past couple of months, it's that Stephen A. Smith and LeBron James do not like each other. They've made this a public thing during one of the Lakers games when LeBron came to Stephen A. Smith, who was sitting courtside, and confronted him about his alleged actions against Bronny James. While many thought the beef would end there, Smith made sure to not let LeBron off the hook, commenting on a very controversial statement that LeBron James had on the podcast show with Steve Nash. According to James, a player shouldn't be valued based on how many rings he's won with a certain team, indicating that his host, Steve Nash, could be in the conversation of one of the greatest players in the league despite his ringless career. Elaborating further on this question, LeBron said, okay, you weren't a great player if you never won a championship, or if you've won one, then you can't be in the same conversation as this person. I don't know, man. It's just like you sit here and tell me that Allen Iverson, Charles Barkley, and Steve Nash weren't unbelievable. Like, oh, they can't be talked about or discussed with these guys because this guy won 1 ring or won 2 rings. It's precisely the rings that LeBron is not considered as one of the greatest players in the history of the sport in many people's eyes, including Stephen A. Smith. LeBron won 4 championships in his career, 2 with Miami and 1 apiece with Cleveland and the Los Angeles Lakers. But Kobe Bryant and Michael Jordan, players who left their own mark on the sport, won 5 and 6 respectively. So is this a good enough argument from LeBron's side?
I don't understand where it came from. I don't know where it started. I hope that we have to appreciate more of what guys have been able to accomplish, what guys have been able to do. A ring is a team accomplishment.
Right.
And if you happen to have a moment where you're able to share that with your team, that should be discussed.
And you know for a fact that Smith wasn't gonna keep his mouth shut on this argument from LeBron James. Not only did he admit that both of them are not on good terms right now, but Smith has also taken the liberty of discussing the moves that LeBron James made in his career that contradict his own statement. Addressing this, Smith went on to say,
if it didn't mean much or shouldn't mean much, well then, why were you so relieved to finally have one? Why did you depart Cleveland to go to Miami and join forces with Chris Bosh and Dwayne Wade to get one? Why did you depart from there to go back to Cleveland? Because LeBron only went back to Cleveland for one reason: to resurrect his reputation and his stature.
There are many people out there who don't think LeBron James is the greatest player ever in the world of the NBA, and they do have a right to their own opinion. However, for LeBron to come out and say that rings don't matter and then switch teams when he saw the first opportunity to beat the Celtics back in 2010 is just kind of contradictory. You might like Stephen A. Smith or not, but he did make some valid points in the latest interview. Furthermore, LeBron went back to Cleveland and had one of the most horrific runs in the history of the NBA, but it's still a change of scenery from his side. You didn't see this type of tiptoeing around the NBA from Kobe, Tim Duncan, or even Michael Jordan. LeBron had a lot of statements as to how he is chasing a ghost that used to play in Chicago, both in terms of championships and points scored. And while the latter has been achieved, will James ever be able to take down Jordan from this list? But if we do go with this scenario, many fans and experts would make an obscene remark. Robert Horry, a former NBA player who found himself at the right place and at the right time, won 7 championships in his career. Is he automatically better than all of the GOATs out there? It comes down to changing the game and the perspective of how fans are viewing your team prior to and after your arrival. LeBron changed the culture in all of the teams he's been to, so he he is entitled to the belief that he is the greatest one to ever do it. He's been playing incredibly good basketball over the course of 20 years, but the fact that he doesn't have a perfect finals record compared to MJ or fewer rings than Kobe is really hurting his resume in general. In other sports, rings matter a lot, despite what LeBron believes. Tom Brady, for example, has been dubbed the greatest football player ever because he has 7 Super Bowl rings. It's the ultimate achievement in the NFL, and no other player has ever done it. Hence, they don't have the right to put themselves and Tom Brady in the same conversation. LeBron tried to put Dan Marino on the map, but I don't think that's the case at all. Nobody says Marino isn't a legend of his own, but to be in the same league as Brady, you need to win championships. The pattern that LeBron James moved throughout in his career raised big question marks for Stephen A. Smith, as the analyst cannot believe that LeBron is having trouble understanding why championships matter in the GOAT debate. According to Smith, there was only one reason why LeBron got back to Cleveland and then got to the Lakers: pursuing a ring.
Because it wasn't that he departed from Cleveland, it's that he didn't deliver the chip when he departed. So he went back to erase a more than half-century curse. So in other words, he understood it in departing for Cleveland to go to Miami. He understood it in departing from Miami to go back to Cleveland. He understood it when he arrived in Tinseltown with the Lakers, that stars, superstars who wore the purple and gold, he couldn't be the one person that didn't capture a championship. He had to get at least one.
According to Smith, however, the situation is vastly different. The critics were aimed at LeBron James, but he decided to hide behind his son in order to avoid it. When talking further about this confrontation that they've had not that long ago, Smith said, "LeBron James hid behind his son, tried to make something out of nothing, as if I was dogging his son, which I was not. The real issue was, we don't like each other, and he used that as an excuse to confront me. I got it. I don't like LeBron, and he doesn't like me. He is one of the greatest players who's ever lived. I am going to show him that respect, and I am going to cover him objectively. When he does great, I am going to applaud. When he doesn't do great, I am not going to applaud." As if things weren't already standing way too poor for LeBron James's reputation, Colin Cowherd has joined the ship of hating on the success that James had with Miami. At this point, they are not even directly hating what he did back then, but his attitude as to why he believes rings shouldn't matter when you discuss the greatest player in the history of the sport. Cowherd asked a simple question: do you think LeBron went to Miami to lay on the beach? And it's quite similar to what Smith believes as well. James has been chasing rings his entire career, and the sudden change in narrative has been rather baffling to say the least. With all this in mind, do you think that LeBron's statement about rings not being important when it comes to a player's accomplishment in the NBA is a valid one? And if so, where do you rank James on your all-time GOAT list? Let us know in the comments below, and once you do that, make sure to click on the video that appears on your screen right now.